We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Lesbian Washington State Senator Emily Randall wins the primary for the 6th District. She is poised to be the first LGBTQ plus Latina in Congress.
Trump's erratic Mar-a-Lago speech criticized Walz and Harris, calling them heavy into the transgender world, as he made incoherent remarks on LGBTQ issues.
Florida police seek help identifying the shooter who killed Monique Brooks, a black transgender woman outside Burlington Coat Factory. The percentage of anti-trans violence has increased in 2024.
MAGA broadcaster Daley insulted fellow MAGA supporter Nick Fuentes for undermining Trump's campaign.
Good evening and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, that we have had more than 9 million views. It is Tuesday, August 13th, 2024, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell tonight on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots magazine, happening on Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ plus community. Our mission? To support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ plus experience in our news and television shows. And the entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and community.
Now let's welcome tonight's anchors at Queer News Tonight. First up, let's welcome Glen Weinzimer. He owns Bona Italian Restaurant in fabulous Wilton Manors. Glen is the founder of Smart Ride, which has raised over $16 million for the HIV/AIDS community. He's passionate about getting out the LGBTQ vote in this critical election year. Welcome, Glen.
Thank you, Jeff. It is a pleasure to be here once again, and I am excited about the new election turn, and I'm thrilled about Kamala running, and I love Walz, and that's about it.
And get out and vote in the primary.
And get out and vote in the primary. And
that's important.
Yeah, it is. Thanks for saying that.
Now
Move on.
Let's welcome our next anchor, Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 2 short story collections and 7 books of poetry. He's an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of print and online publications. Welcome, Gregg.
Thank you so much, Jeff. It's very nice to be here with William and Glen and the whole gang.
The whole gang's here. Next, let's welcome William Haas. He serves as the president of the Bears of South Florida. They are the winner of Out South Florida Best Social Group in South Florida. Will is a seasoned bi-coastal real estate professional with experience in the Fort Lauderdale, Wilton Manors, and Naples and Marco Island locations. Welcome, Will.
Thank you very much. And to all my bears out there, we are the Bears of South Florida. We had an amazing pool party last Saturday, and this Saturday we're going on the water taxi. We sold out 100 guys, 100 bears actually, and we have an open bar and food. So, bears on the ocean.
Wow.
Fun.
Didn't know they could swim.
Let's welcome our lead anchor, Jeff Oliverio. He is a financial advisor and certified financial planner with Truist Wealth in Fort Lauderdale. Jeff is one of the founders and presidents of Hollywood LGBTQ+ Council. He has served as co-chair for the National LGBTQ+ Task Force Gala since 2021. Jeff, Pride Lions is celebrating 42 years of service in a year with Pride Lions Masquerade, a gala on August 17th. Tell me what's happening.
Well, this is, I've attended the Pride Lines Gala for many years, and they have been a recipient previously from the task force, from the gala, from fundraising. For those of you who are watching and don't know, Pride Lines is an organization that serves our queer youth, and also does a lot of work in the HIV and healthcare space for youth and for adults as well. Their gala each year is a masquerade. This year titled Queer Furno, which I love. It's going to be hosted by Lady Bunny. I'm attending along with some good friends. We're going to be guests of the House of Trouble Boys, who are our partners with the gala for our after party for the Task Force Gala this year. So it'll be an all in the family event, and I'm really looking forward to it. So if you don't have tickets, I believe tickets are still available. And if you are inclined to, please make a donation to Pride Lines to support this amazing organization. Now, we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points for the queer news for today, Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. First up this evening, let's queer up lesbian culture. Lesbian Washington Democrat Emily Randall thrilled by her primary win. Last week, Washington State Senator Emily Randall secured a primary victory for Washington's 6th congressional district, emerging as the frontrunner with over 33% of the vote. This positions Randall, a Democrat, as a historic candidate on the verge of becoming the first LGBTQ Latina elected to Congress. In an interview with The Advocate, Randall expressed excitement about her win and emphasized her campaign's focus on addressing crucial issues for all constituents. She said, quote, "My election to the state Senate was also historic as the first queer woman elected to the Senate. But what hits me hardest is talking to our elders or young people who didn't see leaders who looked like them," end quote. Randall's primary victory is notable in Washington's jungle primary system, where only the top 2 candidates advance regardless of party affiliation. She led a diverse field that included both Democrats and Republicans. Randall has a proven track record with nearly 200 bills passed under her sponsorship or co-sponsorship, focusing on healthcare access, reproductive rights, and education reform. As she prepares for the general election in November against Republican Drew McEwen, Randall says she is determined to bring investments and positive change to her community. If elected, Randall will join Congress at a time of stark ideological contrast, potentially sharing the halls with anti-LGBTQ figures like Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Good luck to that. I think it's important, especially when we're in the space of talking about candidates that are being labeled as DEI candidates, and how hard candidates who are LGBTQ or any other type of diversity have to work, and also the track record that they bring with them. This candidate has worked for Planned Parenthood, and what is one of her top focuses, of course, is abortion access, which is crucial across the full United States. So that comes to mind. She also has a sister that was born with special needs who was supported by Medicaid, or else her family would most likely have become bankrupt. So she is supporting Medicaid access expansion, again, a platform that is fairly popular across the entire United States. Right. And she also has, sponsored apprenticeship programs for high school students, so investing in education and youth. If you look at the candidates on the Democratic side, and I think we're seeing this now with Biden stepping out of the race and all of our Democratic talent coming to focus, who have the Republicans built up on their side? They have Marjorie Taylor Greene, a former gym owner. They have Matt Gaetz, a potential child molester on their side, and we have candidates that look like her. And I think it's really important to look and see the future of our party is very bright. And I'm wishing her all the luck in the world.
If you can just get the MAGA people to stop drinking the Kool-Aid. So congratulations to Senator Emily Randall. It will be nice to watch old bleach blonde, bad-built butch body squirm when they have occasion to cross paths.
But she represents the people. And that's what we're supposed to, our politicians are supposed to represent the people. And that's what she's doing. She's listening, and that's what people want to be heard. And she's doing it. She's not talking, singing crap or, lies. She's listening.
Yeah. Well, I'm wishing her luck, and if anyone's out there in Washington State watching or across the country, support our LGBTQ candidates, make donations to their candidacies, and let's get them elected.
Next, let's queer up politics. Trump calls Harris and Tim Walz heavy into the transgender world at Unhinged public meltdown. In a press conference resembling a chaotic rally more than a presidential address, former President Donald Trump delivered a wide-ranging and erratic speech from his Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida. Trump launched aggressive attacks on Democratic Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Vice President Kamala Harris, criticizing them with rambling and sometimes incoherent remarks. Trump labeled Harris as a radical left person and disparaged Walz, claiming, quote, "He doesn't want to have borders, he doesn't want to have walls, he doesn't want to have any form of safety for our country," end quote. He also expressed concerns about what he described as a dire future for the nation, forecasting an economic collapse and potential world war. Trump's criticisms extended to LGBTQ issues, with him describing Walz and Harris as heavy into the transgender world and making confusing statements about transgender people. He said, and I quote, "I mean, transgender. The transgender became such a big thing, but they do all of these things. But they always say, we're going to give you a tax increase," end quote. Trump also announced proposed debate dates with major networks: September 4th with Fox, September 10th with NBC, and September 25th with ABC. These dates are pending confirmation by the network. Trump's verbal response received an apt response from the Harris campaign. They called Trump's performance a public meltdown, accusing him of falsehoods and inaccuracies about key issues such as immigration and Social Security. Their statement said, quote, "The facts were hard to track and harder to find in Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago meltdown. We're here to help because his staff clearly isn't," end quote. You know, when he says things such as heavy into the transgender world, Trump, the all-time lyingest liar, still sounds like a mafia don with dementia and a dirty diaper. So keep up the good work, Donnie boy.
I think it's interesting. He keeps spouting this thing about an economic collapse. I don't know if anybody, most of America saw the news today. The stock market again closed within 2 to 3% of its all-time high under the current Democratic president and Democratic vice president, who is the candidate to become president. So I guess all of the smart money in the world is when they see the polls that there could potentially be a Democratic president again, is not selling out of the stock market or investing in the United States. So again, if Trump were president today, he would be probably on the news doing a press conference about the stock market. And
Trump didn't leave us in the best economic position when Biden took over either. I mean, granted, we were coming out of COVID, but despite that, we still record high unemployment, just an absolute catastrophe for everything he had put in place. And had he stayed in office, I can't imagine what would have happened to the economy at that point, because he wasn't willing to help the average person.
And he's announcing a lot of these dates for the debates.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in the middle of those dates on September 18th, he's supposed to be sentenced for his conviction in New York.
We can do it live from the courthouse.
Fraud. So I don't know if that's on his calendar or not, but it might conflict with some of those dates.
I think the crayons got confused when he was like coloring in the dates. I think
well, the black mark is permanent, and you really can't see one note over the other when you write over it.
You know, if you listen to both stories, the last one and this one, the other candidate was listening. The people want listening to, and he's just talking. He's not listening to anybody. You know, there's a reason why God
really
gave
talking.
you two ears, one mouth. We're babbling.
They're words, but they don't make sense, and they don't make a sentence.
And I'm pretty sure Tim Walz is for safety of our country because he was in the National Guard, something that Donald Trump ran away from.
Yeah, Bone Spurns didn't.
Served as a veteran of this country. So again, I think this is falling on deaf ears in many cases. You know, he certainly isn't reaching any new voters, and I think his own voters are starting to tune out.
Whereas Harris and Walz are clearly reaching new voters. There's definitely a move towards them. So
clearly, so.
Okay, let's queer up trans rights. Police seek leads in trans woman's murder in Orlando. Police in Florida are seeking the public's assistance in identifying the shooter who killed Monique Brooks, a 49-year-old black transgender woman. Brooks was found with gunshot wounds outside a Burlington coat factory in Orlando around 3:50 a.m. on July 19th. Despite being rushed to a local hospital, she was pronounced dead upon arrival. Brooks' murder marks the 22nd violent death of a transgender individual in the U.S. this year. We are on record pace of violence against the trans community in 2024. The Orange County Sheriff's Office has few leads and is asking for any information from the public. Her sister, Leisha Paul, urged anyone with knowledge to contact law enforcement.
If anybody, anywhere, hears anything, sees anything, even just an inkling of anything, please reach out to law enforcement, please. Please, this didn't have to happen.
It's really hard. He was the youngest of the family, and we all loved him.
He was a fun-go-lucky. He was a brilliant person. He was smart. He lived his life out loud, and he wasn't afraid. He loved us till the end, until he took his last breath, and we know that.
Licia says her sibling was a big part of Orlando's LGBTQ plus community.
To fight like he fought for his life, and to be happy, and to live out loud like that is everything.
It is.
That is everything.
Now they're going to fight for answers and are hoping the community can help.
He did not deserve this. He did not. So again, if anybody knows anything or seen anything or hears anything, you can be anonymous, or if you come to us, you're still going to be anonymous. We just want to know. We want justice.
Brooks was a cherished member of the local trans community and an active participant in Divas in Dialogue, a group supporting transgender women of color. Mula Montrese Williams, the group's executive director, described Brooks as, quote, one of the sweetest souls I've ever known, end quote. Anyone with information about Brooks' murder is encouraged to call Crime Line at 1-800-423-8477. What's scary is this is not just happening here in Florida or in the United States, but around the world. Mm-hmm. I think in Forbes magazine said 320 trans people were killed in 2023 around the world, and they listed as beaten, stabbed, or shot. 94% of them are trans women. Most of them are black, and they're in the age group of 19 to 25, and that mirrors what's happening here. So, it is a frightening statistic, and it's just heartbreaking to hear another story where somebody is just taking someone's life needlessly,
I look forward to the day when we don't have to report these kinds of unnecessary tragedies, and I wonder what it's going to take for that day to come.
Well, it's going to take that we don't have politicians that are putting out rhetoric that the trans community is here to attack people, that they're here to groom people. In the past, I think month, I've had two separate conversations, one with a client of mine, one with a friend of mine, a client who has a trans niece and a friend who has a trans child that live out of state. And both of them have expressed complete fear of coming here to the state of Florida specifically to visit their own parents and their own family. And, we have a governor, of course, that is creating a hostile environment, not just for LGBTQ people, but specifically for trans people in the state of Florida. And, these are not enemies. These are not terrorists. These are members. These are upstanding members of our community who are doing community-based work in the case of this story, and I hear the pain in that family. It's heartbreaking.
Shame. Next, let's queer up gay culture. Homophobic MAGA influencers fight with each other, adding fuel to the far-right feud. Right-wing broadcaster Brendan Daley recently attacked white supremacist MAGA influencer Nick Fuentes, referring to him as quote-unquote a fag, and Fuentes declared a new Groper war against Donald Trump's re-election campaign. Fuentes, who dined with Donald Trump in November of 2022, accused Trump's campaign of being taken over by the same consultants and lobbyists Trump defeated in 2016, predicting quote-unquote a catastrophic loss if no changes are made. In response, Daley criticized Fuentes, questioning Fuentes' sexuality, and accusing him of secretly working to bolster Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign. He said, quote, I have no evidence to show that they're all working together. I just know I'm not a fucking idiot who was born yesterday. And if I look and I see 7 to 8 of the bigger pro-Republican, pro-MAGA accounts all pitching the same unified message, that is all. Concerned faggot trolling, then you need to start paying attention, end quote. Concerned faggot trolling is a homophobic term for people who are trying to harm reputations of another person or group by publicly expressing concerns for them. This is like a Jerry Springer episode. They're fighting amongst themselves, which is good because they leave us alone and they make themselves look like idiots. And we're talking, everything pro, how we help the world out. And they're just fighting amongst themselves. And also to speak like that in public, communications is not,
Yeah. These neutered nerds are so hot for each other. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised they haven't thrown in the incel towel and started barebacking each other live on air.
You should really become a writer.
You have a way with words.
Mm-hmm. You do. They just flow off your tongue.
Can I say?
I always like to correct the stories because we're referring to them as right-wing extremists. Many of these groups are terrorists. So I always want to make sure we call them what they are. They're terrorists. And also, I don't know if anybody looked at Dilly's, is that his name? Set where he's doing his podcast. It looks like a weird, my favorite word.
New word.
A weird teenage boy's bedroom. And his language also apparently appears to have, someone who has a 8th grade education.
The little figurines.
So I don't think that Kamala Harris needs either of them to help bolster her campaign in any way, shape, or form. And lastly, again, it's another use of that, using the word, again, bringing the LGBTQ spin on this, is using derogatory terms against, two, I suppose, straight men, using the word faggot, again, attacking our community and in any way, shape, or form that has nothing to do with us.
So. Yeah, because we don't want them either.
We don't. So
we're not recruiting them.
We're not recruiting them. So. Okay. Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
Next, unique Florida to Quebec cruise tour announced for May 9th, 2025. The Hotspots Happening Out Travel Club is offering a unique 19-day cruise tour from Florida to Quebec aboard the Holland America Zwieterdam starting May 9th, 2025 from Fort Lauderdale. Priced from $1,429, this journey includes visits to Atlantic coast cities including Williamsburg, Boston, Portland, Halifax, and Charlottetown, with an overnight stay in Quebec City and a 4-day tour in Montreal. Free transfers to Fort Lauderdale are provided from over 20 Florida cities and private home pickup for residents of Miami-Dade and Broward County. An optional 5-day post-tour to Toronto and Niagara Falls is available for $459. The trip supports the travel club's nonprofit educational mission. Reservations require a $300 deposit with a $99 per month interest-free payment plan. We finish tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up sports. Tom Daley and Team Great Britain divers close Paris Olympics with tiny Speedos dance. Olympic silver medal holder gay diver Tom Daley and the Team Great Britain divers have gone viral after dancing to Charlie XCX's Apple in minimal Speedos. The video, posted by Daley on Instagram and captioned Brat Summer Olympics, features Olympic athletes Jack Lauer, Noah Williams, Kyle Kothari, Anthony Harding, and Jordan Holden dancing in tiny Speedos. Queer fans are praising the video for its impressive moves and sexiness. Daley announced his retirement from diving after the video. I didn't watch a single second of the Olympics, but I have a question for those that did. Would it be fair to say that this, as Olympics go, that the summer edition is usually more homoerotic than the winter version? Is that how that works?
It is.
Less clothes.
And I think it's always been, no one's ever come out before. So I think that's the biggest difference, because Summer Olympics has always looked like great gay men dancing and swimming and jumping off of poles. I mean, jumping off of poles is what we do. Or we jump from pole to pole, whatever it is. But I think, go ahead. You just take it away. Take it away from it.
I'm sure that Tom Daley's phone is ringing with the Dancing with the Stars casting to bring him on there because if he's retiring from diving, that's usually the first stop for an Olympian is Dancing with the Stars. So this could be an audition tape.
There you go.
Probably male on male.
Oh.
Dancers.
Ooh, yeah.
They've done it once.
They've done it once. Yeah, they have. Yeah.
We think he'll dance in a Speedo then? Dancing with the Stars?
Sure.
Could be.
Speedo
To be
dancing.
fair,
Speedo
they're
dancing.
dancing in the same size Speedo that they dive in.
That's true.
So we're
I had
not
no problem.
sexualizing them. We're just saying that that's
No,
their
never,
uniform.
never,
Speedos
never.
they dive in.
It's their uniform.
Their uniform,
And we need to
exactly.
respect their uniform as part of who they are.
Yes. Moving on.
Moving on. I guess this must be me because my picture's up there. LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. Gay actor Jonathan Bailey shines as Fiyero in Wicked. Gay heartthrob Jonathan Bailey is captivating audiences in the upcoming Wicked film, directed by John M. Chu. A newly released clip showcases Bailey as Fiyero, the charming, winky prince and Chiz University student. Starring alongside Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba and Ariana Grande as Galinda. Bailey shines in one of the film's lead roles. Already celebrated for his performances in Bridgerton and Fellow Travelers, Bailey is now poised to steal some more queer hearts as Chiz University's most eligible bachelor. Wicked, Part 1, hits theaters on November 22nd.
Enroll here often.
Fiyero,
Oh, Oz.
I see that the responsibility to corrupt my fellow students falls to me.
You pretend to be shallow and self-absorbed.
Excuse me. There is no pretense here. I happen to be genuinely self-absorbed and deeply shallow.
I saw the Broadway show Wicked. And what I love and I think is so timely about it, and this movie represents the same thing, is it's those who are underserved lose their voice. Those who are in power shut and make other people submit to them, and that's exactly what Wicked is about. And I think it's timely for where we are as a show. This thing is going to be amazing. The music is fantastic. I got to see it in the theater on Broadway with all the biggies, and it was fantastic. I mean, still to this day, it's probably one of my favorite shows.
Adele Dazeem was in it when you saw it?
Adele Dazeem, whatever you just said.
I hope it's as good as the marketing campaign because they're spending a ton of money on this. I think every third commercial during the Olympics was for Wicked, and I think they have a contractual obligation, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, to tour around the country as their characters, like in every setting they could put them in. So the budget for this is humongous, and it's being shown in 2 parts. So it's going to be a great Thanksgiving release.
Yeah.
Well, Debbie Downer here. Flawless Jonathan Bailey or not, I am deeply concerned about a 2-part movie adaptation of Wicked directed by the same straight man who directed Jem and the Holograms. Not holding out a lot of hope, sorry.
Wow.
Sorry.
How many tomatoes did that just get?
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up politics. Call Ron DeSantis. JD Vance was a drag queen at Yale. A photo allegedly showing Senator JD Vance in drag at a 2012 Halloween party has gone viral. The image, shared by queer influencer Matt Bernstein, shows Vance in a blonde wig, skirt, and necklace. Bernstein's post has garnered over 88,000 likes. The picture, reportedly taken while Vance was at Yale Law School, was shared by Yale pediatric professor Travis Whitfield. This revelation is notable as Vance has previously referred to LGBTQ people as groomers and has been anti-drag. The viral photo has sparked widespread discussion online. Please, someone, call Governor Ron DeSantis right now. The only thing I can say about this is you can put lipstick on a pig, but it doesn't make it a drag queen. So to all the drag queens out there, we're sorry that the story has offended you by calling JD Vance a drag queen. We by no means mean to offend you with that disgusting picture.
I want to know who has the pics of DeSantis in drag at a Delta Kappa Epsilon Halloween party as Rhonda Dionne Warwicked.
We all
have to say.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up sports. Team LGBTQ finished in 7th place at the Olympics this year, the most medals ever. LGBTQ athletes made history at the 2024 Paris Olympics, securing an impressive 42 medals, including 15 gold, 13 silver, and 14 bronze. This achievement placed Team LGBTQ 7th in the overall medal count, ahead of every nation that criminalizes being gay. The team, consisting of nearly 200 publicly out athletes, surpassed their 2021 Tokyo Games total of 32 medals. With stars like Tom Daley and Daniel Jarvis, Team LGBTQ continues to grow, signaling a future where even more athletes feel empowered to share their identities on the world stage. That's just absolutely amazing. Here we are celebrating the world, and the Paris Olympics were about love and unity and one mankind. And here we are, all these medals. I mean, that's impressive. And they're actually role models for a lot of our kids throughout the world, even those kids that are surpassed in these countries that, are anti-gay and everything else. I think it's
I love that there's that many medalists or that many athletes around the world that are willing to come forward, because I can't see that a decade ago where that would have even been a thing or would have been a subject, or they would have even covered it. And the fact that they can now openly say who they are and then participate and have a team LGBTQ, I think is a show of a progress. As much as we keep getting lately, feel like we're being slammed and pushed back, then we have moments like this that push our community forward and in a positive light. It's not about murder or death or grooming or anything else. It's not about nasty drag queens reading to children and trying to influence them. This is about a healthy lifestyle, about being out there, being competitive, and being equal with everybody else.
Yeah, I think the arc of the Olympics which started with a culture war about the opening ceremonies, and then to have all these stories told about athletes that have won medals and are exemplary examples of people in our community who are leaders and who put themselves out there on the front lines of about their identity. Which again, let's remind people: straight people don't have to come onto the Olympics and say, "Oh, I'm a straight athlete." They have to reveal something very personal about themselves on top of being an athlete, and also in many cases working in an environment that's not supportive. I think it's to be applauded.
Well, think of the change from when Greg Louganis dove. Not just he wasn't. They didn't focus on the gay part of it, but because he was gay and he was HIV positive, it may have gotten blood in the water. And do we need to empty the tank? And should he have notified everybody? The world has changed so much.
A long way.
Look, imagine being Greg Louganis if he, the top diver, didn't get the same kind of accolades the way that they're getting them now for different reasons.
I saw him, and he was in the audience during one of the diving competitions, I believe, and I could almost see in his face like the energy of like, wow, what a change that has happened in 40 years since
being proud.
Is it 40 years? Yeah. Was it 84?
I don't want to think that far back.
Yeah.
I don't have an abacus to figure it out.
Kudos to those Olympians.
Yep.
And we're wrapping up.
We're back up.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening on Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor tonight, Jeff Oliverio, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Glen Weinzimer, Gregg Shapiro, and William Haas. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. Into our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you good night.
Good night.